Hello and welcome to They.Were.Heroes, a D&D 5e game. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
I had myself muted. I'm doing pretty good.
There'll be a lot of that here, folks.
So, today we have both PJ and Alan, the respective players of Sienna and Nobu, currently doing our first Session 0 group session, which essentially is going to be different players partied up together and put into a scenario where they can roleplay. And hopefully, the hope is by the end of it, make a connection between their two characters, so once we get going into They.Were.Heroes, at least everybody will have someone that they have a more than casual relationship with moving into the game. So, before we get too far into this, why don't the two of you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your character? How about we start with you, Alan?
Sure. I'm gonna play Madwalan, born and raised under Tobu leadership, education, and imperialism. His name is Nobu Wohali. He set out on his adventure after his father banished him from the home, telling him that if he did not get certain things, he would never be able to return. And he's also taking advantage of this opportunity to get to learn more about his Mudwallan side of the family.
So using the effects that you can, hopefully he's traveling through the sands to learn more about things that was always blocked out from your knowledge prior to this. Interesting. And Sienna, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name's Philip. I will be the player of Sienna. Sienna Gutsuz. She is a seraphim, which is just a fancy term for angel, I guess, in this campaign. It's weird. You will understand it later. But she is a antiquarian, which is another fancy term for how you say I wouldn't say explorer, archaeologist, sort of. Yes. She goes to ruins and she digs for things with other people. Mostly the other people do the hard lifting. She is more the brains. She is on her own out here, bar her group, specifically because she left her usual abode in order to search for more meaning in life, considering that she was sort of picked up with not much of an idea of exactly what she is here to do or who she is. So she will hopefully travel the I don't know exactly what you would call this, the world. She will travel the world and hopefully find some sense and meaning of what she is, who she is, what she should do.
So a lost soul going through life, trying to figure out really her purpose, in a world that's not very friendly to those without purpose.
Yes.
Sienna moves through the sand sea to figure exactly what she can find out here. So, and I am the DM. You can call me Nightxgamer, Night, Ash, either of those are fine. So, They.Were.Heroes is not your typical 5e, I'll give you that much. It's set in a custom world that is going to be a part of a world that I am building for another system that's currently in design, but using 5e as a catalyst, we're going to go ahead and make some interesting stories with these characters involved and get to see how much they can change the world before, well, who knows what happens. but hopefully
Armageddon.
living up to the name that once upon a time, at least, they were heroes. So, we find ourselves currently in the Sand Sea, or the Wastes. It gives many different names, but it's a large continent that currently is, well, primarily sand. After a incident that happened over 40 years ago, a event that completely decimated the entire globe by killing off a large portion of mages, and with them about 20% of the world's water resource being evaporated and taken out of the environment completely. The world is left in a state of constant turmoil, prejudice, and fear. Biggest of that is between the humans and the beastkin, which are highly separated because the thing that led to this was a conflict between humans and beastkins that blossomed to basically unsurmountable odds. And because of something, there was an event that caused this horrible thing to happen. Through it, humans, beastkin, orc, angel, everyone finds themselves currently stuck in a constant state of tension, where one expects the other to tip the tides to cause an all-out war, but everyone's still staying their hands, currently trying to restructure their governments that were completely decimated with the loss of a lot of political power from the mages being killed during the incident. And outside of that, people just worrying about what to do with their lives now that a lot of natural resource of water has slowly been taken away, or quickly been taken away. So, why don't we try to, since this is going to be a session 0, figure out exactly where Nobu and Sienna would have the best chance of meeting within the area of the Sand Sea. And if you're interested on seeing the Sand Sea, I'm about to post it in chat so you can check it out yourself. It's a map that I created for this setting, and so yeah. But amongst the two of you, Sienna and Nobu, where would be the most likely place that you would find your characters that they could meet?
So where would Nobu have started off from?
He would have started off near Fort Go.
Fort Go. Where's Fort Go?
It's all the way over here. Not inside Fort Go, but like surrounding area. Like I would say somewhere around here.
Okay. Alright, I guess we could meet probably in the middle in Fort Tortuga, then.
Sure.
So you decide to meet in Tortuga?
Yeah, sure.
Alright. I actually think that was one of the ones that I was able to get information on.
Good for you.
How lucky. Alright. So, we find ourselves in one of the coastal towns called Fort Tortuga. Like most of the coastal towns, it has its ups and downs, but one of its most, at least noticeable feature, is the large population of human compared to beastkin here. We open up our scene as we move through the gates of the fort, currently parsing through humans that are going through their day-to-day life in the militarized fort. looking at the top of the framework, seeing guards currently posted with their guns to their side, but really just taking the life casually compared to what you would expect in a more tense and war drawn out fort that can be in the sand desert. Going past the open streets, we see people currently in mid-conversation and embracing the idea of basically being in a town that they don't have to worry about those beastkin scum. In all this, we find our way moving to one of the few taverns or saloons here in Tortuga. Outside of it, we watch as a carriage pulls up, currently painted in black. An old man with a long mustache sitting at the top, currently slowing down the horses in front as he takes his cane and hits it on the side of the wagon a couple of times. "Hey, yo, feller! We made it to Tortuga!" And after a couple of knocks and no answer, the individual just turns, looking down, and gives a frown before hopping down, using his cane to steady himself as he lumbers over to the side, getting to the door and opening it. And inside, what do we see? This will be your introduction, Alan.
All right. You can see Nobu picking away at his teeth with just your average wooden toothpicks. He had quite the meal, and after a long day's work, he wants to wind down. He has his feet on top of the table, showing almost no courtesy for the establishment, and he glances to the side, looking at the old man. Right, yeah. I don't really know what else he would be doing aside from, just minding his own business.
The wagon driver would give you looks like, "We made it to Tortuga. You getting out? Or am I taking you back? I'd happy to take your gold for free, but it's up to you."
No, I think I'll keep my gold. Any places with more reputable people that I can talk to? Any trade brokers, perhaps?
I'm just a wagon driver, Sonny. I guess that if you're trying to look for something, you might want to go to the Honeybee. They're a pretty nice place.
Thank you, kind sir. Take my leave.
He nods happily as he currently wipes his hand on the side of his pants and just holds out his hand in front of you with a smirk on his face.
I think I can handle myself.
Oh, I'm sure you are. I'm just waiting for a tip.
Alright then. And, Nobu will, just pretending not to understand the man, he's gonna give him just a gold piece.
He looks at the gold piece in his hand, looks back at you, and just kind of shrugs and pockets it and walks back to the front of his carriage before struggling to get back up over time. But you find yourself currently in the middle of the street of Fort Tortuga, a pretty foreign town from what you're used to, as you give a glance around, seeing a mixture between multiple tents of people and multiple lineages that, as far as you're from and concerned, it's pretty rare for you to see.
Hey, no beast can hear. Huh. Strange.
And about the time you get that thought out of your mind, you just hear, "Yeah!" as the wagon from behind you starts to pull off. But not right after hitting a puddle, spritzing you in the back of the leg.
Nobu's going to wince, and he's going to say, "Felt worse, much worse. Whatever."
So, hefting your bag, you begin to move in a direction, hopefully to run into someone to give you ideas to where this honeybee is. But, while doing so, at a different part in town, we find a very lonesome building currently being ignored by the masses of the people in Fort Tortuga. Either going to a bar or one of the multiple inns here. This building alone seems to hold, like, some type of air that keeps everyone else away. Though, as the camera continues to move inside, it passes through the flapping doors and finds rows and rows of books to the left and right on shelves and everything, which goes to show exactly why this building seemed to be ignored. As down one of the aisles, we find another individual, which, why don't you go ahead and describe yourself?
Sienna would be wearing a commoner's dress, one that's easily, walked in. Some high heel boots. Have a little bit of a sack over her shoulder for, as she would be typically traveling a whole lot in between places, so doesn't really have a place to really set it down or anything like that. Alan, what the hell are you doing? I'm sorry, I just saw you with your eyebrows and your nose. She would have brunette hair, dark brown eyes, glasses, and a pair of black wings on her back, but they're not large enough that it would indicate that they would be able to really give her any sense of flight, and you would be correct. And they're black and they're molted, so really any of the typical angels you would see with the more glorious type of wings you would see in like fictional books would not be the case here. It'll be very sullen looking sights if you're focusing mainly on the wings. She herself is not a bad thing to look at, but again, it's still a little iffy.
And as she's going through all these books, eventually a elderly woman would move up behind her. Are you finding everything right?
Yes, I'm quite. Actually, do you have anything on ruins in the area?
I'm sorry, miss, but most of the books here are just fantasies, fabrications. You'd have better luck finding something more on the intelligent side if you were heading out of town. I hope that's not an inconvenience.
Not too much, I guess. Well, I guess I'll need some sort of reading material. I've read through most of the books I have on me. What would you say is a good pick out of these?
Oh, like something in her eyes kind of brighten up when you ask for her opinion. Oh, I actually have me a favorite in this one. As she moves to the other side and pulls out a book, and it's called The Lonely Armor.
What is this one about?
It's about this lovely little girl that has a tragic past, but after hardship and whatnot, oh, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a lovely little story.
It does seem lovely. How much?
Well, she kind of looks you over, and you get the feel, just from your general appearance, he seems to be judging. It's like, well, I don't want to impose or anything, but most of the books we sell here are more for loan.
I see. So how long can I have this one for?
Well, I know it may seem a little steep, but maybe I can work something with you. Normally we loan our books out for $2 gold, and seeing as you live on a street and all, I know that could be difficult, especially if you gotta eat.
So I can afford 2 gold. How long can I have this book for?
As long as you promise to bring it back to me before the end of the week.
Alright, I can do that. I will make sure it stays in pristine condition. What is the fee for damages?
Oh, sure, you don't have to worry about fees if you just don't damage it.
Just so I know.
Well, for that one, I would say that's a buying fee, so it'd be another 2 gold.
Alright, I will keep that in mind. Thank you.
No problem, hon. You enjoy your day, and you enjoy that book.
Yes, I will. Thank you. She would just take the book, give over the 2 gold.
She would smile and take the 2 gold and allow you to take the book with you.
She would leave with it. Into the street. Also looking over, flicking through a few pages.
You get the gist that it's a smutty romance novel.
Oh my. Well, this is I've not actually read one of these. It'll be interesting.
She was just like saying this, going out the door. One of the people seeing, she's like, "You're talking to yourself, girl."
Sorry, I did not know someone was listening in. Goes back to reading the book.
He gives you a concerned look at first, and then shakes his head before walking on with his horse. So, on the other side of the town, Nobu. You've been moving through here on Fort Tortuga, currently trying to find exactly where this honeybee is. You try to ask around, but people give you a look, and more times than not, seem to blow you off. Almost as if they can sense that you're an outsider coming in here.
What's wrong with me asking a few questions? These people are a little insufferable.
As a guy on a horse stops, like, "Son, are you talking to yourself?"
I'm always talking to myself.
He just gives you a concerned look and just shakes his head. Kids these days. He continues to take his horse out of town.
Nobu's actually going to stop the man, and he's going to ask, "Well, good sir, been looking for this establishment called Honeybee? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I know it.
Would you point me to it?"
He scratches the scruff of his neck and just gives like a couple of nods and points to a rather obscured building. Like, everything around it is large and more imposing, but the building he seems to point at is kind of worn down, kind of sunken in between the two buildings, so if you weren't particularly looking for it, you would have missed it twice.
Nobu's going to turn to the man and he's going to point. That's the honeybee?
One of the first buildings here in Tortuga.
Then why does nobody talk about them?
Because they probably just don't know you.
Fair enough. Thank you for your time, sir.
He gives a nod and a tip of his hat before hiking up on his horse and starting to just trot out the town.
Yeah, and Nobu's gonna head over to that decrepit building.
So moving to it, it gets the feel of it's that one building that's probably owned by someone that everyone around them bought out that area, but that person's like the one that's stubborn, that doesn't want to change and conform to everything that's changing around them. You get that kind of feel while looking at it. The wood to it seems to be old and ragged. The windows heavily fogged or stained by either soot from candles too close to them or just not being cleaned for a long time. Though, to surprise, as you can see because it has swinging doors, the floor looks new. And as you move towards the swinging doors, avoiding a couple of more shady spots on the walkway up to it, you move inside the building, and much to your surprise, it's fabulously furnished in here.
Nobu's going to look around for any sort of a host or person in charge.
As you give a good look around, you kind of get taken aback as you look at this tall individual with green carapace-like skin and large, I forgot the descriptive word for it, but mosquito eyes. As you look at the Zert, which is like a bird-like humanoid. Not bird, bug-like humanoid. As he currently seems to be scrubbing the table down before looking up to you. He's like, "Oh, hello. Welcome to the honeybee."
Just wanted to ask, hopefully not too tact question, but what's up with the exterior?
Oh, well, we have some issues affording people to do the outside work, but I'm more proficient with doing things myself on the inside, so I do what I can. Hello.
Nice to meet you, sir. May I have your name? It's just courtesy.
Oh. My name is Skin. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, sir. Nobu Wahali, at your service.
He moves towards you, and after coming across from the table, you can see that he has two sets of limbs that seem to be hairy, mixture between orange and red, and most of his body kind of gives you the idea of somewhat like an ant, but just with mosquito-like eyes before he raises one of his arms and holds it out to shake.
I shake his hand. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Are you looking for a place to stay?
More like a place to just check out. I just decided to stop on by this fort, and not many interesting things so far.
Oh, Tortuga is a very, very repressed town.
I can tell. Well, tell me more about yourself, Mr. Skin, was it?
Skin, yes. Well, it's around this time before he says anything more. The door kind of opens lazily as an individual currently with her face in a book, barely paying attention to her surroundings, moves into the building. And when you feel like you have a moment where they're about to bump into you, they kind of just sidestep, continuously staying in their book. And that's when you notice the rather odd, black, molted, almost dead-like wings currently tucked to their back while reading through this book of theirs.
Now, I've seen seraphim in my time, but not ones with wings like that. Ma'am?
She would stop, head perk up. She'd look behind. Her face would be flushed, mainly from reading the book, but you probably wouldn't know that. Yes, that I'm sorry for my wings. I was born with them. It's nice to meet you. As she goes back to her book and goes over to a table.
No. There's nothing to apologize about, ma'am. It's just curious.
Well, I don't really have a story for you. She sits down at a table, looking you over, and then going back to her book.
I was just gonna look over this individual and taking an interest in her wings, especially. He's just going to take a seat in any available spot and occasionally glance, while also tending to his own needs.
And while you're doing that, Skin was just standing there, softly muttering to you, not paying attention about anything that he was talking about.
Oh no, poor Skin. Oh no.
And that's when I finally decided that Skin needed to leave the hive and set out on his own. So, well, if you need anything else from Skin, you can ask me. I'm always here. He kind of just gives a sad nod and walks back towards the counter.
Damn, man. As soon as the girl comes in. Oh, wait, shut up, man. What happened? Whew.
So, Sienna, why don't you go ahead and make an intelligence check?
Okay. Here we go. Just straight intelligence?
Yeah, just straight.
Alright.
Yeah, you get through most of that book within that short amount of time of you holding it.
Mm.
And she kind of take a pause after getting to basically the high point of the book, where the main character found out that their love interest was not who they thought they were and actually was working for the Demon King against them. And if she really wanted to be with them, she had to betray what she believed in her own goddess and all that. And you kind of just stop absorbing all that. She's like, wow. And look about, and this weird Nobu is still looking at you.
Okay.
Is it? Do you need something?
No. Of course not. Not from you, ma'am.
Oh, all right. All right. He goes back to her book, occasionally looking up, seeing if he's still looking at her.
No, not anymore. After she addressed it, Nobu's going to set down his weapon and he's going to go up to Skin and he's going to ask. Just a little curious about this place. still reside in such a... No?
Here, there you are. You're back. You froze for a second there.
Yeah, that was scary. Yeah, Nobu's just going to ask Skin about why he's choosing to stay in this place out of all the nicer forts and whatnot.
Oh, Skin said earlier. I can say again. Sien decided to stay, and it's around this time the door opens.
Man.
As a woman currently with a large brim hat and a black robe walks in. The air that she kind of brings while walking in here kind of sucks all the joy in with it, as she currently looks between Sienna, you, and Skin. And without saying a word, strides in and takes a seat in one of the corner seats, currently away from you guys, as even though she's a good distance away from you, still gives you a chilling feel just with her presence being in here.
Sienna would bring the book closer to her face as she kind of hides behind it.
Nobu he's going to take notice, and he's going to put his finger on Skin for a moment, and he's going to ask, "What's up with the hat lady?"
Oh, she is one of the rune hunters.
The whatchamacallits?
The people that hunt after magic users and witches.
And why exactly is she here? If nobody... I assume nobody in here casts any magics, right?
They say if a rune hunter is in town, they're in town for a reason. And it's with that Skin moves from you, grabbing a jug and a glass and moving towards the woman. And putting the glass down, he seems to be pouring her something, as she seems to be saying something to him, and he seems to be responding, though it's in a low enough tone, and with the noise from outside, from the movement of Tortuga, it's a little bit difficult to hear without putting a little more effort in.
I think I'm just gonna get a tad, just a little, just teensy bit close to try and listen.
Can I try listening from where I am as well?
Go ahead and both of you make perceptions.
No. A little too far away.
You don't want to give it a shot?
I just went for it.
Yeah,
I know.
7, 13.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't see you rolling. So, 7, yeah, you try to listen in, but the noise coming from outside, the sound of people being rowdy in the evening's like sun and whatnot, kind of drains out whatever noise that the hushed conversation seems to be aiding. But Nobu, you hear difficultly, but you do hear. So it's good to see that you have returned to Skin's establishment. Well, you do seem to serve, at least, the most pleasant drinks since I've been here. Oh, this is something very nice. That Skin, as she puts a hand up, pausing Skin in the middle of his.
The guy doesn't get to speak at all.
How long has that one been here? Oh, she's been staying here for a couple of days now. Tell her that I would like to speak with her. Skin can't. Then Skin will. Yes, ma'am. Skin would just give a nod before moving back over to you, Sienna.
She would look up. Yes, Mr. Skin?
The madam would like to have a word with you.
She would look wide-eyed at him, look back to her, back to him, back to her, back to him. Okay. She would say as she closes her book, folding the page to see where she was, puts it in the bag. Whew. And she would get up with her bag and walk over to the woman. Hello. How are you?
Take a seat.
Okay. She would sit down across from her.
While you sit down, she brings her currently leather-covered legs up and crossed and sit in a very casual tone. And with the simple movement, you can just see the very large sidearm currently holstered and visible.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. So, why would you, ask for, my, company?
I don't come across many seraphim.
Oh! Oh, yes, we are quite, rare, at least around here. I don't see a whole lot of our, kind.
I'm gonna be frank, what's with your wings?
I was born with it. It's a long story, really. It's been a rough life.
Well, I'll get to the point. I could use someone like you.
Really, for what?
Well, apparently there is a so-called haunting not far from here. And I hear your kind is good with dealing with things that's not particularly all here. And since I don't have a priest with me...
Well, I'm not exactly I am not the most, seraphim of seraphim. I have just sort of, been in my books, just doing some boring digs, here and there. I don't really deal with a whole lot of, hauntings.
She just looks at you and just gives a nod before reaching into her jacket, the hand being obscured for a moment, and her eyes locked onto you.
I'd be looking to her, to her hand, back to her.
Before she would... Go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna ask, would it be possible for Nobu to try and notice what it is she's reaching for from this distance?
I will allow you to make a perception to try.
Okay. Let's see it. Oh no, unlucky number.
Unlucky number.
Okay.
Nobu, as you sit down and try to act as casual as possible to get a look into what it is that she could possibly be pulling out, unfortunately, Skin kind of like moves in your way. It's like, so is there anything that Skin can get for you while you are waiting?
Yeah, Skin. Perhaps bring the chair over to that table. Just because.
What? Excuse me?
you know, just want to listen. And being this far away is it's a little difficult on the ears. I'm sure you'll understand.
But Skin, go ahead and make a persuasion.
All right.
This poor thing. A Skin, without his iron will, has his shoulders drop. As all his multiplicative eyes just kind of sag for a moment and just looks back to the Rune Hunter. And sighs and looks back to you and just nods as he moves to find a chair.
Oh man.
As you waited, Sienna, she pulled out a folded piece of paper and placing it down in front of you.
What is this?
When I said that you are not very common, it didn't mean that I didn't know anything about your kind. She gestures for you to open it.
She'd slowly put her hand over to bring it to herself, and she gingerly opens it.
It seems to be a hand-drawn portrait of a family of 3. A happy, what you assume to be, like mixed-blood human, you're not sure. And next to him, a equally happy, blonde-haired individual, and between them, a small little girl.
What is this?
That is a family that reached out for my order to help them. The father is currently missing. The child is with her mother. And as far as I'm concerned, this might be a mild poltergeist currently taking control of her mother. And if experience tells me anything, the father's probably dead in the process. Can you in good conscience say that you don't want to help that little girl? If so, I will take this, and you will never see me again.
Shit over her mouth. She'd sigh, kind of putting her hands up to her, between her eyes.
I know that you may not be a priest, but I'm aware your kind still is familiar with spirits, at least in more of a sense than I am at the time. Any information or aid you can do with me can be the difference between me having to kill this little girl's mother, making her an orphan, or you. And if she gets to this point in the sentence, Zert just like very feebly moves in and places a chair between the two of you. She like was in mid-sentence and pauses and just looks at Zert. Or not Zert, Skin.
Skin, yeah.
Sorry. As he just slowly backs away.
Sienna would blink after Skin. What were you saying?
Yes. Are you going to help?
I can, I can try. I can see how much knowledge I might have on things such as this. I can't promise much in the way of results, but I can try.
Good. As she pulls out another piece of paper and begins to write out directions. I'm going to be at their family farm later tonight. I hope to see you there. If you need a guide, I suggest you find one before you make the trip there. The house is a few hours out of town, but this area has been more active with sand dregs lately, so I suggest you move in caution.
Yes, I will. I will keep that all in mind. Thank you.
After Sienna says that, Nobu's gonna butt in and he's gonna say, "Now, I've been listening for quite a while. I'm a little interested. If you need an extra hand."
Sienna would slowly turn her head up to look at you, eyes wide, and it's not a positive expression on her face.
Nobu, at the moment, he has no care in the world. He's just very curious. Wants to know what's going on.
As this rich rune hunter individual will look back at you, their brim hat currently obscuring some of their faces are looking up at you. Well, before looking back to Sienna, it looks like you didn't have to wait too long for that.
What? What? I don't even know this strange man. Why? What?
No, I believe you know me. We made ourselves acquainted with.
Well, I'll leave you to prepare. Remember that I'll see you at sundown tonight.
Yes, but
Before the rune hunter would grab the bottle in front of her and just swig it down, flipping it upside down, and then standing back up. The multiple chimes of the different armaments on her ringing about before giving Zert just this one last hard look at Zert just slowly sinks. Skin slowly sinks behind the countertop before the rune hunter walks out without saying another word.
Sienna would look as she goes, and then slowly turn her head up to Nobu, or the strange man.
Nobu's gonna give Sienna a toothy smile as he says, "All right, just nabbed myself a job. I'm proud of myself."
She just rests her hands on her face. She just rubs it on the table. I was trying to avoid trouble, but no, trouble always finds me. So I guess we are partners in this job. What is your name, sir?
My name's Nobu Wahali. Nice to meet you, ma'am.
Yes, nice to meet you. Yeah.
What's wrong? Ain't never seen a Monowala?
She just looks up. I have seen some of you around. Kind of. I don't. It's nothing to do with. Why are you so interested in? What do you want something?
I'm not interested in you, ma'am. Frankly, I'm interested in what you can offer.
What can I offer you?
Opportunities. It's quite as simple as that, really.
What kind of opportunities do you expect from me?
sound like you knew quite a bit about certain things, so you might be able to help me with the mission of mine.
You could have just asked instead of just staring at me from across the room.
Oh, I was doing that. It's just something I do. I apologize.
Okay, sure, fine. Alright, well, I guess we are working together tonight, dealing with some sort of ghost. I guess. Oh my gosh, this is not good. This is not good. I was hoping not to have to do anything. Just go through this town and go to another job. But nope. Just this again. Okay. So what can you offer in this department?
You ever heard that expression saying, never bring a sword to a gunfight? Well, I do that. And I do it well.
I see. By the way, Knight, should I roll a history check to see, or I guess I already rolled a history check. Would I know who this person is after all those legends that we were doing in the character introductions?
Have you guys exchanged names yet?
He just said Nobu or Holly.
Go ahead
said
and
my name.
You would know what you knew already, yeah.
Okay, let me just go for this 1 second. Okay, so Nobu. So she would think for a second. Wait, I think I've heard of your. So, I heard something about some sort of noble character that. Something about the swords. Something like when you put it down, there is danger about, or something like that. I don't even know. Is that you?
My sword's over there. I put it down. I guess there was danger, so I decided to step in.
Oh gosh, that is something great. I have found myself a you. Okay. Oh, this is lovely, amazing, really. All right. Well, I guess I should tell you my name. Sienna Goodshoes, at your service. She holds out her hand.
Nobu's gonna shake her hand and he's gonna grasp her hand uncomfortably, like one with a longtime friend. And while shaking her hand, Nobu's gonna start scratching at his chin with the other hand, and he's gonna say, "Sienna, I think they called you the mistake, supposedly."
She would immediately take her hand out of your grasp. She'd put it back on the table, looking up at you. Really, is that what they called me?
Yep. Supposedly, you're seen as an omen of death and decay, whatever that means.
I see. Great, I see that people like to cause rumors. This is great. This is okay. So,
It's
Mr.
around this time when you guys are just like going back and forth. You finally start to tune in that Zert's like next to your table, been talking to you guys for a while. Not Zert, Skin.
Oh, Skin. Hello. How are you?
I'm not doing well at all. Did you see how she looked at me? Like, you didn't hear Skin, no. Well. Do you think she's gonna come after Skin?
No. She was just concerned about the job she had to do, and she asked me about said job. Don't worry. You never came up in conversation.
Nobu's going to put a hand on one of his multiple shoulders, and Nobu's gonna say, "If she were to do anything, my friend, I would be the first person to respond."
He looks at you confused on how to take that. But eventually gives you a head nod and gives off a sigh of what you assume to be relief.